So good morning, everyone. Today we will start with the first module of Municipal and Industrial Wastewater Engineering. Okay, so like it was discussed yesterday, the first module has got introduction into the sanitary engineering, how sewage is getting disposed, the types of sewerage system. Then we have two types of flow, which we call as dry weather flow, wet weather flow. Then factors affecting dry weather and wet weather flow. Then we have the effect of storm water and how you estimate storm water, materials, the sewer pipes, laying and testing of sewers, ventilation, then certain low-cost treatments that are commonly adopted for sanitary waste, that is oxidation pond or septic tank. And then we have the sewer appurtenances, which are commonly manholes, and other fixtures which are provided on the sewer network. So let's start with the module. The first thing is need for sanitation. Why do we need sanitation? So if you look at these two pictures, both of them are one is from India and the other one is from Africa. We understand that commonly in developing countries, we have a very big issue of hygiene, because of mostly the non-availability of good toilets. So when we say first, where we talk about sanitation, the requirement of water is a very much needed resource if we need to provide good sanitation. So because of the non-availability of water, and in many countries like developing countries, or even in India, in many parts of India, we are not able to provide complete sanitation because of the non-availability of water. And to a certain extent, it is a mindset of people that even though there are toilets or the government built public toilets for them, they do not use those places. And open defecation is a common problem that is found in India as well as many other such developing places. So one is the non-availability of water, and second is no proper toilets where facility for water is available, and sometimes the mindset of people where they do not use these toilets, and because of that open defecation is happening. And once open defecation happens, then the entire area has got a very unhygienic condition. So the main problem is of unhygienic or insanitary conditions is because of this open defecation that is happening, especially in we can tell as the poor section of the urban areas and in parts of rural areas. So you can look at these two pictures and you can see that even if you have a flowing water body, there is a lot of waste and other materials that get dumped into these water bodies, because of which the entire area of surrounding those water bodies or whatever it is becomes a very unhygienic or insanitary situation. And many a times people who are living in those situations are bound to be using water or their daily activities from that particular source, and that leads to a lot of spread of diseases and things like that. So coming to the neglect of sanitation. Okay, this is a graph that is showing you various diseases that are commonly seen in population, and especially population in the developing and underdeveloped countries. And if you see that, you can see that diseases like malaria or even HIV or AIDS, there the number of deaths are much less for the age group of the population that they have shown in the statistics. If you look at under 5, that is children who are at the below the age of 5, you will see that diarrhea is one of the common causes of death for children belonging to the lower age groups. And the other age groups are, there is a variation in the pattern of the affection, getting affected by disease. And you can see that diarrhea is one of the main diseases that is widely spread because of not having proper sanitation or very unhygienic situations in the surrounding areas, or your water body gets affected. In such situations, these are the types of diseases that are commonly seen. And if you look at the amount of money that is being spent for the treatment of these diseases, you will understand how much importance is there for having sanitation in place. So we have the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan and all those initiatives that are being taken up by the government. The main reason is, if we have some sort of initiative either from the central government or from the state government to tackle the sanitation issue in India, then definitely the economy will become better, because we spent a huge amount of money on getting treatment or for all these problems caused by the insanitary situations, the health issues developed in people. Taking care of that itself, we are spending a lot of money. So if we are able to tackle the sanitation situation of a particular area, we will definitely be able to at least save a lot of money in our country if we are able to provide these facilities to the people. So this is about the sanitation of a place. Now, how do you define the term sanitation? If you look at the general term, sanitation does not mean having dirty water or dirty land or polluted air. It is a combination of all these things together. And the World Health Organization has given a very broad definition, and this definition is not a hard and fast rule. It is always with relevance to the situation that the definition of sanitation is done. It is the provision of facilities and services for the safe disposal of human urine and feces, and the maintenance of hygienic conditions through services such as garbage collection and wastewater disposal. But coming to the major problem, it is defecation, open defecation, and allowing the feces to get into the running water or water bodies or sources of water. That is the main problem. But that is only one component. You have the solid waste, which generally ends up in many of the water bodies, and even a place where you see heaps of these garbages or rotting piles of organic waste. That entire area becomes very insanitary because it attracts pests like rats, rodents, or flies and things like that. And in this decomposing waste, if these rodents are moving and then they come to areas where human population is settled, they spread innumerable diseases among the human beings also. Okay, so if sanitation is to be maintained, then every aspect of cleanliness has to be taken care of. You can look at those above lines where they say that nearly half of the global losses in India happens because of poor sanitation. And 5% of our GDP commonly is lost as taking care of this. So if we have new ventures like our Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, where people actually work with communities to make them understand and stop open now, the new what to say, after the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan has come into picture, they say that every village and every urban economically backward areas have all been provided toilets, and there is open defecation has been reduced to a great extent. Whether it is actually happening or not, if that can be achieved itself in India, we will be able to see a lot of difference in the sanitary conditions, and where whether it is the rural or the urban areas. Inadequate sanitation results in serious public health issues and economic losses. And sanitation is one of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals. These SDGs have become very popular now because every activity, whether it is our activity that takes care of the cleanliness of the area, providing water, providing education, these are part of the 17 goals of UN, which they call as Sustainable Development Goals. And now every government is trying to satisfy these goals. And in India, the major concern there will be sanitation and education. So that much of importance is there for sanitation. And if we are able to take care of that, we will be able to see a lot of improvement in the health of the people and in the economic status. Okay. Now we come to need for sanitation. Why is sanitation needed? Now you can imagine an area where you have a lot of insanitary conditions. The water bodies are piled up with heaps of pollutants. The water is contaminated. Okay, there is open defecation happening by the side of water bodies, and lots of solid waste and other wastewater gets put into the water bodies. There is open burning that is happening, what we call as people just pile up the garbage and they just burn it. And then you have smoke, dust, and particulate matter all over the place. If a situation like that is experienced in any area, definitely that area the people are going to be falling sick, whether it is a village, whether it is an urban area, whether it is a country as a whole, whatever. So the first need for sanitation is better health. And when we say health, it includes all aspects of health for a human being, not only that he is having proper water to drink or proper toilets where the waste gets disposed properly. It also means that he has fresh air to breathe and things like that. Though in this particular subject, we are mainly concentrating on the waste water, which is being generated from places which is affecting the health. And you all know that through wastewater, there are a number of diseases like typhoid, cholera, gastroenteritis, especially diseases which affect small children and the elderly population or the elder population. And these are killers also, because many number of deaths happen because of these diseases. So the first need for sanitation is that if we are able to provide clean areas and proper sanitation, the population will have a better health. Now, improved economy. You saw the previous slide where they say that we are losing about 5% of our GDP on sanitation. This could not only be for providing the facilities, but also for taking care of the population who gets affected by diseases. So if we are able to provide proper sanitation, then there will be lesser people falling sick. So when somebody falls sick, that productivity of that person is affected. When a large group of people fall sick, then also productivity gets affected even more. And when manpower is affected, the productivity and industrial output, everything gets affected in that manner. So economy, when we say, is not only the expenditure that is being done to take care of all these, providing of facilities or health of the people, but also in terms of productivity. And that gets affected because of the sanitation issues. So we can just take an example like this. This COVID, whether it came from China, from the wet markets in China, I think by now all of you would have seen all the messages and articles that have come as to how this would have spread from animals to human beings. But when the spread of this thing has happened, you can see how the world got affected because of this condition or pandemic, and how much of economic loss would have happened in each country because of this. So anything that is going to cause a problem to the health of the people is indirectly going to result in a loss of economy. Now, another need for sanitation is safe disposal of waste. From any building or any household for that matter itself, a large number of streams of waste are getting generated, whether it is liquid waste, whether it is your toilet waste, whether it is waste from the kitchen, or the solid waste that is being generated. A number of streams of such wastes are there. If we have a proper developed technique wherein these wastes can be removed from the building, or when we talk about a particular house, can be removed from that particular building, then we are going to be achieving a very good sanitary situation for that building. So ultimately, disposal of waste from the surroundings is an ultimate achievement that needs to be done if you need to have sanitation. The last aspect is the aesthetics. You saw the two pictures which I had shown you earlier. You can see similar real life pictures even in Bangalore city when you walk around. You can see piles of garbage rotting. You can see cows and other animals moving through those piles. You can see dogs ripping those waste materials all over the place. And if you have a visitor from some other country coming to your area, visiting that place, you can think about what a miserable picture that it shows to people from outside. So aesthetics is nothing but how the place looks from somebody else's viewpoint. So if you are having a good sanitary situation in your area, definitely all the types of waste will be properly removed, and hence you will have a good appearance. And indirectly, tourism and other industry also gets affected if you have very poor sanitation. So this is the need for sanitation. Now, these are some of the common terms that are used in sanitary engineering, which is very, very important. Okay, so when we talk about waste, like I told you, it's not only liquid waste. Though the remaining portion of our syllabus, we are talking about the wastewater alone. For any sanitary engineering, you need to talk about the various aspects of waste which commonly comes as sanitary waste. So just let us look at all these terms. Refuse. This is a very general term where anything that is discarded, anything that is worthless comes under that. So you can have solid waste as refuse, you can have sewage as refuse, or the wastewater as refuse. Any of this can be. All the terms included together, we use the term refuse. Now, garbage. This is the dry part of your waste. Street sweepings, vegetable waste. Okay, in India we are generating a lot of organic waste, and per person in India, now if you look at conditions like city areas, okay, we will be generating much more quantity of waste than a person in a rural area. So that's why we are finding it much more difficult to dispose of the waste in cities. And you can see the problems of, piles of garbage being put on the roadside after a festival and things like that, because the Paura Karmikas or whoever it is was unavailable to pick that. But in a rural area, or in a rural setting, some of these matters do not turn up as waste because they usually have, animals like cows or buffaloes or goats that they're growing. And most of the kitchen waste or vegetable and other waste goes as feed for them. And their usage of packed or packaged food and things like that is also much less. But in the city areas, we use too much of these packed items, which comes in covers or packets or cartons, and we do not, use up the organic waste that has been created at home in any manner. And so, because of that, we generate much more of that waste. So they are talking about quantity of garbage. This is only the dry part of the waste is almost about 0.24 kgs, but according to very recent studies, 0.6 kgs up to that, okay, per person waste is getting generated in urban areas. So you can imagine per person, if that is there for a city like Bangalore, how much of waste will get generated. Then you have another term, though we commonly use both garbage and rubbish synonymously, there is a slight difference between those two terms. Rubbish consists of sundry or very waste solid things which come from offices or residences, which will be paper, rags, broken chappals and things like that, and it is generally dry and combustible. So when you talk about garbage where you have a lot of vegetable and other matter, you can't call that as a combustible material because of the moisture content. Whereas rubbish, the term denotes things like paper and waste material which has got high calorific value and which will burn very easily. Then you have the term sullage. This term is actually one part of the wastewater, but it is restricted to wastewater which comes from bathrooms, kitchens and wash basins. I will tell you why the sullage has been given a different terminology, because this water which comes from these areas are very much less polluting compared to the wastewater that comes from your toilets. Hence, they give you a different term for that. Next is sewage. So your sullage is also a part of sewage because it is wastewater. It is a dilute mixture of waste from all types of public and residences, okay, which includes sullage and the discharge which comes from your closets. So your closets, urinals, etc., that wastewater mixed with all the other types of wastewater that can be generated together comes as sewage. Now, storm water, this term is very familiar for you. It is the runoff that comes from surfaces after a rain. Sanitary sewage is the sewage obtained from residential areas and industrial establishments. It is a general term that is used because of the polluting nature of the waste. Similarly, sometimes we use the word domestic sewage to mean the sewage that comes from only residences. Industrial sewage, which comes from industries, and sewers. Now, sewers are pipelines. The pipe through which the sewage is carried is referred to as a sewer. So you need to be very clear with the definition of these terms. Now, you have an entire network, like in a water distribution system, you had a network of pipes with appurtenances, etc. To carry away the wastewater also, we have a network of pipes and appurtenances required for that, and that entire system is what is called by the term sewerage. So in all these terms, I want you to be very careful when you understand the term sewage, which is entire wastewater. That wastewater can come from your toilet, it can come from the bathroom, it can come from anywhere. It can be rainwater which is running off from your building. That is also part of your sewage. Okay. Sewer is a pipe that carries the sewage, and sewerage system is the network which allows for the complete movement of sewage within an area with all the pipes, the appurtenances taken together. So these are the general terms. Now coming to methods of sanitation. Now for any area or for any village, town or anything, you have basically two methods of carrying the waste, and this waste is mainly the waste that we tell from the toilets or the human fecals. Okay, our human waste is the one that decides which type of system of sanitation you are following. So the conservancy system was called as dry system also, and this existed in city areas. It has almost been completely removed and it is not existing anymore. In some villages and rural parts of India especially, there could be the system. And how the system works was, initially when we had a house, the toilets used to be placed at the back of the house. And sometimes you people would have heard about the term conservancy roads also. And some of our residential areas like in Malleshwaram and places like that, we still have those roads. So for all the houses, the toilets would be at the back of the house. And at that time, we didn't have the facility for, the closets which we have at the present time, where flushing system was there and water could be carried. The closets were of what we call as a dry type, and that's why that system is called as a dry type. So all the waste would be collected in buckets inside the toilet. Okay, so the toilet would be basically a hole where there is a bucket or something placed at the bottom, and the waste gets collected there. And there were people called by the term scavengers in those days. Okay, and those people, that it was mostly a caste-based system during that time, that these people were given the dirty job of cleaning the waste. And their morning work was, they come ringing a bell with a wheelbarrow like this thing. If all of you, I think at one point of time, would have seen the movie Gandhi, there it is very clear. And at that time there was a very big caste stigma also in India. So these people were given the burden of doing that. So what used to happen is, they will come and they collect from all the houses. So since it is the back side, there would be a back door through which these people can enter, remove the bucket or something that is placed there, remove the waste into whatever, wheelbarrow, whatever they are bringing, and they deposit back the bucket into the toilets, and then they carry all this waste. At those times, there used to be a lot of open land available. This much of crowding in cities were not there, and so they used to take it to some faraway place, and it was their work to dispose of this waste. So this practice has probably gone away from many of our cities where we have the flushing system available now. But there are many parts in rural India where the system could still be continuing because of the non-availability of the piped water system or whatever it is. So you can imagine that scene, because you need to be able to compare it with what we have now, or the new system which we call as the water carriage system. They call it as the wet system also. So as time and new models of closets and things came, then we had the facility of having the piped water, because of which we are able to remove the waste from the closets by flushing the toilet. So now we call this as a water carriage system, because there is a severe dilution of the waste in large volumes of water, and the waste gets carried away in a bigger stream of water. So that is the basic difference between these two. So now This is just a comparison table, okay, because they generally ask you how do you compare. So many of you wouldn't even have heard of the system. So initially, when cities started to develop, since there was not much facilities available, this was the most cheapest method, conservancy system. And you know what is involved in the water carriage system, because you need to have piped water facilities. You need to have closets where you can flush the waste with water. Conservancy system, definitely, though the toilets were detached from the building, there would be foul smell, okay, and in the water carriage system. And if you look at your previous houses, maybe in your villages and things like that, you will see that those toilets were away from the building. But right now we have all very small modules as flats where we stay, and because of the better system that we are having, we do not experience any such problem of foul smell, etc. Now, definitely, if you had the conservancy system, the aesthetics of the place would be affected. You are depending on manual labor to get your cleaning done. Okay, so in water carriage system, it would be better. Now, this waste would have to be taken to a low-lying area and buried somewhere. Okay, so land was required. In the what is the current system, we don't require any land for burial of these things. Okay, and another system was, since we are using the human agency or depending on human agency, it's like the days when our Paura Karmikas go on strike, we have heaps of garbage lying on the door. You can imagine the situation where if these people went on strike, what would be the situation of that area? So that is the problem. So water carriage system has given us definitely the benefit of having clean surroundings without having to take the help of anybody to remove your waste. So that was the two systems of sanitation that were available. Just some time back, I told you what is the definition for a sewerage system. So a sewerage system is the network. Okay. Now, there are basically three types of sewerage systems. There is the separate system, the combined system, and the partially separate system. Okay, what a separate system means is you can have two or one set of two pipelines separate, one set which will carry all your wastewater that comes from the building, and the other set which carries the storm water. Now, because you are carrying the sewage and storm water separately, this is very ideal in places where you can expect uneven rainfall. For example, if you are in an area where some days of a month or in a year, randomly, you have very heavy rains. Okay, and sometimes there is less rain, but the rain is very fluctuating, or the volume of water that generates from the rain or the storm water is very fluctuating. Whereas the quantity of wastewater generated from either the residences or the municipal areas are, it is not a fixed value, but there will not be so vast a variation as in the case of a storm water. So in the case of the separate system, you are laying one set of pipelines for carrying your wastewater and the other set for the stormwater. So your pipe size for the sewers can be made very small or comparatively smaller, because you have only stormwater, and you can have predictions for how much of stormwater will come during the maximum rains, and you can design a size for the stormwater pipes. And because the sewage flows separately, you can have a calculation of the quantity of sewage going to be generated from that area, probably put in additional factor of safety and design that. So you need only smaller pipe sizes. But you all have seen how cumbersome the work of laying pipelines is. And sometimes when you have to dig 2 times to lay 2 different pipelines, if you can imagine, if you have very narrow roads, like some places of Bangalore where we have very narrow roads, if you need to dig 2 trenches to lay down the 2 pipes, how much of effort will be there? So the cost involved and the effort involved for laying these pipes. So that is the main problem with the separate system. Coming to the combined system is where you have only one large pipe. This pipe will carry your sewage, your stormwater, etc. This can be only preferred if it is in an area where you have a relatively normal rainfall throughout the year. There are no fluctuations, suddenly heavy rains, if you are not expecting that. Here, you have to make a very big diameter pipe to carry the waste. But in such cases, the cost involved of creating such a large diameter pipe becomes very much more. But by laying the pipeline, you need to lay only one pipe. And in such pipes, suppose there is very less rainfall, and if the sewage happens to be very less at a particular time, when you have a very large diameter pipe and very less flow happening, and that too stormwater is also very less, then the carrying capacity of the pipeline gets affected. And you will see that probably there will be a lot of silting happening within these pipelines. And because the pipe diameter is very large, when you have very less flow, it will affect the flowing capacity of the pipeline. So this is what is commonly termed as the combined system. Now you have another type of system where they call it as partially combined or partially separate system. This is actually a system wherein you can imagine a building where you have the wastewater that is coming from kitchen, bathroom, etc. that normally goes into the sewer pipe. Now you will have a lot of storm water flowing in your building, on your terraces, on your surrounding land, etc. And a part of this water will be allowed to enter the sewer line. And the remaining complete storm water, which is actually not very polluted at all, okay, will be allowed to go through open drains. Now, these open drains are, in city areas, people try to cover it up because there is a problem. But open drains were the easiest way to carry away the storm water, which is not getting polluted in any way otherwise. So now what happens? You have a sewer pipe wherein you are carrying the wastewater from the building, okay, the sanitary sewage, and a part of the storm water is allowed to mix. Now, if the sewage was flowing by itself, chances of causing silting is more if this flow is less at a particular point of time. But because we are allowing a part of the storm water to mix with the sewage, you will have a better flow in the pipeline. So this method works well if you have a combination of the separate system and the combined system. Now we need to look at each of these systems with their advantages and disadvantages. So I hope it is clear how the separate system works. In one pipeline system or one network of pipe, it will be carrying the sewage. In the other network, it will be carrying the stormwater. So advantages are the size of the sewers are small. Like I told earlier, you have a predictable quantity of sewage and you have a predictable quantity of stormwater also. And so because of that, you can design the pipes to be of smaller dimensions. Sewage load on the treatment unit is less. So here, only the sanitary waste will be taken, or the sewage will be taken to the treatment plant. The storm water will be carried by the pipeline and it will be taken to the nearest water body or where it needs to be let out, and it can be. So there are only two places where normal disposal happens. Disposal can happen either into a water body or it has to be done on land. Okay, so here, the sanitary sewage will be taken to the treatment plant where the necessary treatment will be given, and the stormwater pipe will carry it to a nearest water body and dispose it off there. So only the sanitary sewage requires to be treated, and so there will be less load on your treatment plant. And the rivers are also not getting polluted because you are only sending the storm water, which is otherwise not having any other polluting or major pollutants in there. Storm water can be discharged into rivers without treatment. These are the advantages that comes from your separate system. Now, there are disadvantages also. The sewers being small, sometimes it causes the problem of clogging. Okay, the clogging happens when is we have a period, sometimes periods of very less flow. During some periods, it depends on daily variations. It depends on seasonal variations and so many of these. But at some times when the flow is less, there is silting happening within the sewer lines. And if the diameter of the pipes are very small, then it becomes extremely difficult for them to be cleaned. So normally you people would have seen large manholes, especially on the main sewer lines that go on your main roads. These manholes are as tall, or taller than a man's height, and people can enter into them. And normally when there is a block in a pipeline in between two manholes, you can flush water down one manhole so that the block in that area or the stretch of the pipeline can be cleaned easily. But when your pipelines are very small, it becomes a problem to get them cleaned. And frequent choking also will be there. System proves to be costly as two sets have to be laid down. That's true because one pipeline is carrying only the storm water and the other pipeline is carrying the sewage. So there are two aspects of cost here: material cost, the laying cost of the pipeline. Both comes into picture. And like I told you earlier also, if you have a very narrow road and in narrow road you want to put a separate system, then it becomes very cumbersome. The use of storm sewage is only partial because in dry season it gets converted into dumping places. I think all of us would have seen our normal mori or gutter as we call it. Okay, when there is no water, people bring their paper and solid waste, everything, and dump it into that. So even if people cover it with slabs, if there is a small gap in the slab, people will dump through that. And then what happens in the next rain, all the water will come out on the road because where the water is supposed to flow, all that you have blocked it with either demolition waste or solid waste and things like that. And so water will flow on the roads. Same thing will happen if this process is used also. Now coming to the combined system, the size of the sewers will be large. So because of that, choking problems and cleaning are comparatively easy. You are allowing both your sanitary waste and the water to be, storm water to be passing through the same pipeline, and hence the size of the pipeline will become much bigger. It proves economical as you are laying only one set of pipelines for carrying all the waste together. In that way, it is economical. But there is a second side to that. You have a very large diameter pipe. And so if you have to lay a very large diameter pipe, you require to be having a very large trench to be dug, and you require heavy equipment to be used in order to lift and lay these pipes. Because when you have large diameter pipes, your weight of the pipeline also becomes very much more. So another advantage is because of the dilution of sanitary waste with storm water, the polluting capacity is reduced or nuisance potential is reduced. But that is only one aspect of the advantage. But if you look at the disadvantage part of that, what you are doing is you are allowing non-polluting storm water to mix with your sanitary sewage. And once it is mixed, then the entire sewage becomes contaminated, or the entire wastewater becomes contaminated. In the previous case, you had the provision of allowing the storm water to be disposed of into the water body, but here you will not be able to do that. You will have to treat the entire water. So what happens? You are unnecessarily polluting your storm water. You are allowing a larger quantity of water to be, wastewater to be going to your treatment plants. Hence the load on the treatment plants and your pumps. Okay, pumps are something that work for long stretches of time. So when you have much larger volumes of water to be disposed, definitely the load on the pumps and the treatment plants will be very much more. So you can look at the disadvantages. The size of the sewers being large, difficulty in handling and transporting. So if you need to make a trench, if you need to lift it, all that, because the diameters are very large, the work involved becomes larger. The load on the treatment plant is unnecessarily increased. That is because of the reason that I told you just now. You are mixing stormwater along with your sewage. So the entire thing becomes polluted or contaminated, and the whole thing needs to be taken to the treatment plant. It is uneconomical if pumping is required, because pumps will have to work for extra long hours for all the volume of water to be taken. And the stormwater is unnecessarily polluted. Okay, now partially combined or partially separate system. Okay, let us look at the advantages. The sizes of sewers are not very large as compared to the combined system. Okay, so let us first look at, this is actually a combination of the separate and combined system. So what happens in the separate system, you had only the the sewage in one pipe, but here you will have the sewage along with a little quantity of stormwater. So your pipe diameters will not be so big as the case of the combined system, but at the same time there will be some flow available so that there is no blockages that is happening in the pipeline. So it combines the advantages of both the previous system. Silting problem is eliminated. Silting problem is eliminated because the storm water will help to improve the carrying capacity in the pipeline, and so there will be some amount of flow in the pipeline at all times, which will prevent the silting from happening. The disadvantages are, during dry weather flow, the velocity may be low. That may happen is when peak summer and there is no extra storm water to be coming into your pipeline size is slightly bigger than that of a separate system, and at that time when you have only the sanitary sewage in the pipe, chances of silting may happen. The storm water which is put into the sewage is getting polluted unnecessarily, which is going to have an extra load on the treatment plant. But when compared to the combined system, that load will not be that great. Pumping of stormwater is an unnecessary overload on the pumps. So these are the basic differences between your separate system, combined system, and partially separate system. So this is a common question that can be raised to you is, how do you compare the system based on situations? So in which situation will you prefer any of these systems? So if it is a city, okay, where and many places you will see that even though we talk about the combined and partially separate system, you will see that the separate system is existing because the hygiene or the sanitary situation is much better when you have both of this taken separately and the quantity to be conveyed to the treatment plant is reduced. So if in a situation where it is a city area where there is no problem for money or the funds available with the corporation or municipality is good, then in such cases the separate system will be good, provided the roads are not very narrow. If the roads are narrow, then it can cause a problem because of the difficulty of digging two sets and putting them in. Otherwise, it is easier to handle. So you can think about repair also. In a pipe which is carrying only sewage, and if there is a damage, okay, then only that pipe needs to be serviced or repaired or removed. But if it is a heavy rain and you are having a combined system, you can imagine the problem that can be caused if that one pipe is having some problem. So the quantity of wastewater that will have to be dealt with at that time is very much more. Okay, so wherever you have very nominal in areas where rains are not excessive, Okay, and throughout the year you have scanty or very less rainfall, such areas definitely the combined system will work very well, because neither are you going to have too much rainwater so that you are not mixing. So it is based on situation, the place where you are designing the sewer from, the economy or the financial aspect of the system. Like when you are deciding a water supply system, you are taking into consideration the financial aspect. Here also the financial aspect will have to be taken into consideration when you decide which type of system you will be functioning. So in such a place, definitely the combined system will work well. Now, in places where you want very good hygiene, but at the same time, the finance available is very less, the partially separate system will work very well, because though you are allowing some amount of water to go through the open drain, that is not actually a polluted water that you are allowing. It's only the storm water. So unless you have problems where the gutters are getting clogged with solid waste or demolition waste, etc., in areas where you want sufficient cleanliness, but at the same time you don't have the finances to lay down a separate system, there your partially separate system will work very well. Okay, so coming back to our this thing, in our first module, these are the important